Thank you very much for coming.
Well, I'm very honored to be sitting here with you.
I'm very grateful for you doing this.
This is really fun for me. So I guess I want to ask you from the beginning of this, when this came to you, what I'm totally blown away by and in awe of is I assume this was very close to shooting Kinds of Kindness, where you played 3 distinct, idiosyncratic, unique characters in one film with 3 stories, and then you created a 4th character, I assume not too long after, that is completely different and unique and idiosyncratic, and you can't really connect these men you create. And so when this was, it's really amazing to watch. And of course, also he won Best Actor in Cannes for his performances in Kinds of Kindness. And what I would love to know is how soon after completing or shooting that film was when or Yorgos or I don't know how it happened, approached you, pitched this to you. When did that happen? How did that happen? Was it a verbal pitch before it was a script that was shared?
I first read the script probably 3 or 4 months after we wrapped Kinds of Kindness, and at that point it was something that Yorgos knew he wanted to do. Emily was attached and was going to produce as well, and then they didn't have all the rights squared away, so it was like, read the script, we don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen at some point. And then I did a mini-series in between, and then, as it always works out, it's like there was not a ton of time after wrapping that, and then when we started, and then we were doing press for Kinds of Kindness in London while trying to rehearse.
Oh shit.
I was like, oh my God.
You guys use that time as both? Press
Yeah,
and
it was
rehearsal?
not nice of producers to do that. But that's the way it worked out. I don't know, sometimes, time can be a good thing, but too much time can sometimes be too much time. So it's like, eventually you just have to like rip the Band-Aid off and like take the leap and go for it. But.
And so where did you start? Did you start, I mean, I am assuming there's not one method to your madness, or one method, for lack of a better acting term. Do you start with like research for Teddy, at least, like for research for conspiracy theories, or is there something internal that you're trying to lock that connects you with the character, or is it something physical that helps you jump in, or is it everything all at once?
I actually think that's my favorite part, or the beginning weeks and months, because you're really just looking for anything that is interesting and inspiring and just kind of following your nose and gathering as much information as you can, just out looking for a way in. Are you guys okay? It's late. Did everyone eat? Yeah? You guys ate? You're not hungry? You're supposed to be yacked.
You hate talking
I've also got a lot of friends up there, so laughing.
I want to understand what unlocks your inspiration of where you begin to create these characters that are, like, we keep seeing you transform as these versions of what look like you, but they have completely different mannerisms, speech patterns, habits, walks. I'm just curious, was there something specifically that unlocked Teddy for you? Or you don't also have to share, I can move on, I have other questions.
No. I will answer your question. I mean, I think it's a ton of different things. In the beginning phase, like I said, it's just, I had a friend that recommended this book that I think laid the foundation for sort of my understanding of how people are lured into conspiracy theories and kind of the root of that. I also had a friend that happens to be the most knowledgeable person about aliens.
No, I thought you were joking.
No.
And they're here right now.
No, but
You're pointing to
some of my friends back here, it's our other friend. He's probably, I don't know, watching Ancient Aliens or something. But it was incredible. It was incredible, you know, he's told me plenty of things in the past, and I always try to listen, you know. But it's like, but now having...
Now you're asking more.
Now I'm asking more,
yeah.
And as is the case with anyone who's really passionate about something, like you have someone that wants to listen, he could just talk for hours, and it was fascinating. And I asked him a lot of questions about when it started and what like his earliest memories of deciding, they're out there, you know, and like what was going on in his life, and all that was really interesting. And then I also worked with an acting coach, and we do dream work and stuff, and so it's just a slow process where, like, bit by bit, you're putting it together and just finding the thing that resonates with you, that seems like the most interesting. And I'm also just trying to find the way in that doesn't feel like work, that just feels like I'm following some trail and following my curiosity, because when I feel like I'm working, I don't feel like I'm very good. You know? Yeah.
So when you're doing this rehearsal process with Yorgos and Emma Stone, are there film references, literature, articles, photography, or conversations about tone, or is it all on the page? Because I think what's so moving about this film is the ride it puts you on, and you are absolutely terrified, you're uncomfortably laughing, and then you're I think we're also very scared of you and what you're going to do in that last act. And okay, so this is a two-part question. They're two separate questions. One is how are you guys finding a tone? How are you guys finding your process together, and especially after working with each other previously? And I also want to learn about Aiden Dulles, but we can just put that right there, because they gave us 25 minutes, I think, if that's okay with everyone. And then within the rehearsal that you're having, how are you creating a safe enough environment, because there's so much violence? And I think the thing that is so scary in the last act is how impulsive you seem. And I don't think we are aware of what you're going to do next. And so I'm curious how much freedom there was to actually be able to surprise each other within the safety of the world you're creating, and I'm assuming the rehearsals are connected to that.
Yeah, well,
sorry, I can do one and then two.
Hit every one of those points. I guess I'll start with tone. That's something that always feels kind of like you're just experimenting until something feels right. I mean, Yorgos with Kinds of Kindness and Bugonia, you know, it doesn't give a ton of direction. If you're veering into an area that doesn't feel right, he'll sort of give you a simple note. But he said one thing that he constantly echoed on both was like, remember, it's a comedy. So I was like, remember it's comedy.
So when that happens, are you thinking stakes?
Or
are you thinking be funny?
I hope some of this is funny. But that's, you know, I guess any comedy that I've ever done, it's not funny to the characters.
Sure.
But and the stakes in this, I mean, that was what was intimidating. I remember starting this, maybe in the first week or two, and no, we were shooting sort of chronologically, and so I knew what was coming in that third act, and I was like, how am I supposed to do this? Because it just, the circumstances and events just goes from bad to worse to unimaginable, and so that's not answering any question really.
No, it did. You
okay,
absolutely
yeah.
answered the question of tone.
And then in terms of that third act, we had fight choreography for the stunts, and I don't really know. It never felt unsafe, but it was yeah. I don't know what the answer.
But you were able to surprise one another.
Yeah.
Even within the
and we did a lot
terrorizing.
We did a lot of takes, but I will say, Emma and Yorgos and I worked together, but having Aiden on that set completely changed the dynamic, and we were all really mindful and sensitive of what his experience was going to be. And early on when the casting director found him, we were all like, well, it's obviously Aiden. That was the first thing I said to Yorgos, like, oh, yes, he's amazing, but how are we not going to traumatize this kid who's 18, But Aiden, he's just one of the more interesting people I've met, and he is a horror fan to begin with, and he's tough, and he got a real sense of self, and it was just amazing to watch him throughout that process. Like, he had acted in a few school plays, but this was his first film, jumping into the deep end with Yorgos, and it was just to get to act opposite him, like anyone, first step is just relax, which is easier said than done, but...
It's really a horrible thing to say to someone.
No, I didn't say, Aiden, relax. No, I'm saying...
All you have to do is relax, bro.
I'm kidding. You know what I mean? Trying to create an environment.
I wanted to understand how you
relaxing.
created an environment that felt like safe and intimate for the two of you, developing this familial relationship, especially with him never having done a feature before, and what that was like, and how that altered maybe what your assumptions were going to be, and then had to maybe adjust to him, or maybe you didn't.
I think some of it was just luck, because we did a camera test early on, and months before we started shooting, and him and I just hit it off, and I knew that this relationship is pivotal to the whole thing working. And sometimes it's hard to explain why certain things work, but I felt so protective over him and was so attuned to how he was doing. And so the dynamics, aside from some of the crazy shit that he does to Don, like a lot of it was just kind of naturally built in. And we also had Aiden had an amazing sort of coach, guide. Her name is Elaine. She started this foundation called the Miracle Project, and she specializes in it's this theater group for neurodivergent kids, and she's been doing it for 20-something years. She did a documentary called Autism the Musical, and it gave us a lot of comfort having her there, having that experience. I was able to talk to her the entire time, ask her any questions, and it was just wild to see where I was going with that whole relaxing thing. It was a really wild experience to be acting with Aiden and to see the moment where something shifted and he started using his own experiences and was present, and like I could see it happen, and then as it we were shooting chronologically, and I was amazed by him, and it was
chills all over.
It was incredible.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't really know what to say after that. I guess
Got a lot of notes there.
I guess I'll ask this question, which is like not a great transition. I would prefer like a better transition. This film, as well as Kinds of Kindness, feel like a kind of return of Yorgos's canon of filmmaking, which is these kind of extreme mental manipulations of either like subcultures or parallel situations of how the world functions with different orders and rules. And the thing that it seems so different about specifically Bugonia is that it also feels like his most political, without pointing fingers in any which way, but kind of like at all of us. And I'm curious if this was something that was very clearly discussed, talked about. Was it something that, and if it was it something that made you more excited or scared you, or?
I mean, this may sound like a cop-out, but the script was so rich and well written that there wasn't a ton we needed to talk about. But I agree that this feels different, in comparison to some of Yorgos's previous films. And I think, he's always sort of shining a light on aspects of us as a species and how absurd and twisted and ... all of that. But I think he's got a bigger heart than he wants to let on.
I mean, I think we felt it
Yeah.
the way this movie ends. I think it is. I think it's a tragedy, like that's what it feels like. It seems like someone who is actually really hurt by humanity after like making us all like, be mortified by our own actions and terrorizing us. But then it feels like someone who is very heartbroken.
Yeah.
I mean, that song at the end, it's really so beautiful, and those aliens, they knew what was up.
It's funny. We were shooting in that basement, which was like, oh my God, can we please finish in this basement? And just so you know, that house and the basement was built from scratch. And it was truly the most incredible set I've ever gotten to play on. And there were details in that house that you never saw, there was so much personality and specificity and detail. And I mean, that's the other reason this movie works, is like across the board, the team is unbelievable. Oh, but what I was saying,
sorry, go ahead.
The song, we were shooting in the basement, and Yorgos plays music in between takes, and when we're reloading, because we're using this old camera that takes like 5 minutes to...
Oh, how fun and festive.
It was festive. Yeah, it was super festive.
Is it a Green Day song that she's tortured to? Yeah, they're just playing Green Day all day long.
But he put on Where Have All the Flowers Gone? He's like, maybe the end of the movie? And then me and Emily were like, holy shit, it's perfect. And then a few days later, he was like, I think it's too perfect. And he played another song, which, in my opinion, you would expect. It leaves it on it's darkly funny, And I went home over the weekend, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was like, I think it's the first one. I think it's... Anyways, but it's sincere, that song, which I think is also kind of what's different. Or it's direct,
Yeah, no, sincerity I think goes a long way in a world that we're always like kind of rolling our eyes and we always know more than everyone else. To just be sincere, it's also, it's I think a feeling that I think we take for granted sometimes in art. With the set, did they build it with like movable walls and things like that? I'm just curious how Robbie Ryan, who I think many of us would be huge fans of, what it would be like to work with him for a second time, and then also how he was it designed with like how he already knew he was going to be using the space.
No, they just built a house and
Shit.
built a basement.
Yeah, fun. And was he a part of rehearsals, Robert?
Robbie?
Yeah. I just like
No, and it was we only had about a week, and like I said, we were doing press all throughout that. So I think when we started, all of us were very stressed and didn't feel ready, but we're just kind of like, oh, okay, here we go. But no, Robbie, I mean, I know him and Yorgos had their preparation time and all of that.
Cool. Well, how are we doing with time, guys? One more. Okay, let me go back to my notes. Oh, okay.
Hey.
This is one I didn't think of. This is one that was on the list of possible
Okay.
questions. Was there a favorite scene you shot?
Yes, it's actually pretty easy.
Cool.
The dinner scene,
Yeah.
where it starts and where it ends, and everything in between, it seemed to kind of encapsulate the entire film.
Yeah.
And side note, that line that Don says, "Can I go to the bathroom?" That was all 80. Yeah.
Did he have to keep doing it, or is it just that only?
He only
once?
did it a couple times.
Yeah.
But you know, I guess that's
And
that's
you
the
were
other
so mean to him. So did you improvise that answer?
thing. What is this?
But did you improvise that answer? You wouldn't let him go. You said this is dinner, if I'm remembering correctly.
I mean, I think I probably responded a few different ways, but that's what they picked. So I don't know.
Yeah. And so did that sequence, how many days did that take? Because there is also obviously it cuts into a big chase after, but
Yeah, it was
the dialogue
a
that we.
day and a morning, pretty much.
Do you remember how many pages it was, just out
It
of
was-
curiosity?
10 or 12,
Fun.
something like that.
Yeah, that's really satisfying.
So, I mean, once you have the lines and then can just play, yeah, it was so much fun.
Well, I think I'm gonna ask my final question.
Hit me.
Do you have a favorite conspiracy theory now?
Shoot. Favorite one.
Were there a lot, or was there one that you were just like, or maybe it was just
I mean,
his aliens, but
You know, my friend Trevor was very
Yeah.
convincing.
yeah.
You know, I think they're out there, guys.
Is that your biggest is that your big takeaway from the movie? That there are aliens out there?
That's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah. Okay, so you heard it here first, you guys. Tell all your friends that this will change everyone into believing that aliens is real. The movie comes out October 24th. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you guys for coming.